Nadeen Matthews Blair, please come forward. And she's going to share her tips, tools, and it's going to be very enlightening on parenting and AI. Let's give it up for Nadeen Matthews Blair.
Welcome, welcome everyone. This is one of my favorite topics. As Emprezz mentioned, I run a consulting firm and my focus is on helping individuals and companies level up with digital and AI technology. And my why for doing this work is because I love AI, I love technology, and it has helped me a lot in life. And then I also don't want our children and our country to be left behind. So that's a huge part of my mission. So if we could just pull up my presentation, I'm going to start by doing a little game. So does anyone see the TikTok put a finger down? Good, 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 good. All right, so hands up, one hand up. Put a finger down if your child has come home from school, don't understand what the teacher taught, and it's a topic you either never learned or it's been so long, you're like, I don't really remember that, but the homework due tomorrow. Put a finger down. Good. So I'm seeing a number of fingers down because as parents, we participate, we play a key role in the education process. So how I like to start my presentations is by showing a quick demo, and I've stopped doing these live because the internet doesn't typically cooperate, but I want to show you a quick lens into how AI can help it to be less stressful and to contribute to learning. So Trevor spoke about personalized learning.
That I use to help my children to study and to deepen their learning. The first one is Perplexity, which I consider my research BFF. And I'm going to type in a topic, thermal energy, which my daughter actually studied last year, and I was no thermal energy expert. Here we go. Please provide a very simplified definition or explanation of the concept of thermal energy for a fifth grader. Please make relatable with everyday life examples for a fifth grader. Okay, it is now pulling up the results. And one of the things I love about Perplexity is that it actually provides sources. So if we take a look, it says, imagine this when you heat a pot of water on the stove, and here it gives the everyday examples. But at the top, here are the sources that you can dig deeper in and encourage your child to do further learning. But on top of that, Perplexity also provides videos, YouTube videos, and if your child is a different type of learner, this is super helpful. I really like that. Now I'm going to jump over to ChatGPT. And one of the things I use ChatGPT for is to help me to create practice tests. So let's give it a try. Please create a practice mathematics test for my sixth grader on the topics of scientific notation, fractions, and perimeter. Please provide 10 questions, a mix of multiple choice and word problems. Please ensure word problems drive critical thinking and integrate the various concepts. Separately, please provide an answer key for parent. That's me. Sure thing. So here is ChatGPT pulling up those questions. And of course, there's the answer key for parents. So in seconds, we have.
So in seconds, I have a practice test, and I literally do this to support my child as she practices for exams. And then I have an answer key. And sometimes I have to say, can you walk me through how to answer the problem so that I can actually help her to practice? Now, at the end of the day, she has to do the work. The tool is just a mechanism to help practice, but she has to show up on that test and do the work. But I, as a parent who's not as skilled as our teachers in the classroom, I have to find a way. I have to help myself to help her. So 2 tools, Perplexity AI, Research BFF, and ChatGPT, 2 great tools with the right guardrails, as Trevor spoke to, can be really excellent support as you support your child's learning journey. Okay, we had Trevor define what is artificial intelligence, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time here. I want to point out that humans create AI at the end of the day, and what's magical about artificial intelligence is that it's taking data that we provide, by the way, and it leverages this data to make decisions and to take actions that humans would ordinarily take. So I'll point to the Tesla in the top of the screen. Does anyone know what this one is called? The Cybertruck. And so the reason why we have self-driving vehicles today is because it takes all the data from how persons drive, what to do at red light, what to do with a broken line versus a dotted line, and it then takes that information and mimics behavior. What do you do when you see a human? Because at the beginning, they used to crash into people, right? And then it takes all this data and it learns how to do what humans do, which is to drive. So over time, we'll see that we'll have vehicles that are driving us. How many of us are ready for that? How many of us are ready for that? Okay, so let's jump into what I want to talk about, which is how do we get beyond the fear, the myth, the various misconceptions associated with AI and the frequently asked questions, so we can put things in context and really leverage this to help our kids and to help ourselves get to the next level. So the first fear that we hear about all the time is AI will take our jobs. How many persons have heard that? All the time. And we hear it all the time because the answer is yes and no. How many persons know who this gentleman is? Matthew knows because he's the youngest person here. I hear it, right? This gentleman's name is Kai Cenat. He is what you call an online streamer. And I had no idea who this gentleman was before my birthday on April 7th, which happened to be Carnival Sunday in Jamaica, and he decides to come to Jamaica. And my nieces are like, Kai Cenat is here, Auntie. Oh, I have to go see him. I'm like, who's that? Is a movie star? No, he's an online streamer. What's that? A YouTuber? No, Auntie, it's an online streamer. He plays video games. Matthew, youngin, keep me honest. And people watch him do this. So I said, okay. And I go and look it up, and I see this man makes like $4 million US a year, and people just watch him play video games, right? I mean, he does more. He makes content. He makes it exciting and so forth. But the moral of the story here is this job did not exist in 1990. Yeah? And there are many jobs that we have today, data scientist, social media influencer, robotics engineer, that did not exist. In fact, MIT published a study recently which said 60% of the jobs in the US today did not exist in 1940. So I'm here to tell you that AI will absolutely change and take some jobs. But what will also absolutely happen is that there will be new jobs. The question is, are you prepared, and are we preparing our children for those jobs? Is that answer yes? Yes? After this, you're going to do the, but after this, right? The answer is no, but after this is going to change to yes, right? Okay. All right, so here I want to share another example, because when electricity became a thing, and this now started powering machines, and so the need for certain manual jobs disappeared. Has anybody ever heard of a lamplighter? Yes? Does that exist today? Has anybody heard of a knocker-upper? Knocker-upper. So they would go around and knock on people's doors to wake them up, because there weren't alarm clocks. People use an alarm clock. You don't use the clock because you used it? Thank you. Thank you. Right? So these jobs don't exist. And when you find disruptive technology coming into the space like electricity, it disrupts very narrow jobs. So yes, that will happen, but the question is, how do we prepare for the future? And I also share this because what disruptive technology like AI and electricity does is it allows you to create new things. So how many people in here can live without any of these things? Microwave, fridge, maybe flat iron if you're gone natural like me, radiology machine, and TV. No electricity, none of these items. But in addition to these items not existing, these items come with jobs. You have to call the man when the fridge breaks down, right? And someone invents these, someone designs these. All of these are jobs. So what I want to create is more optimism around what AI will create, even though we can't see it, and assurance that every time we have disruptive technology, this is what follows. Some things go away, but lots of new things come as well. So we had AI will take jobs. Have we heard AI will make us lazy? Yes, right? So on the right, this is actually my calculator from high school, my TI-82. I still have it, don't ask me why. And this was such an expensive purchase for my parents. I was living in the States at the time. And my father used a knife to carve my name in it, because if I lost that thing, you can't buy it back, right? That's how important it was, and that's how much it cost. And in the middle, I have a snapshot of an article where math teachers were protesting against the use of calculators. Like, no, this is going to make the kids lazy and all of that. And this has not manifested itself. Why is that? Because every time, and then on the left is the TCAD, I had to do manual drafting. I'm showing my age. Thank God for your children, there's AutoCAD, and there'll be something else. But when you have technology that creates simplicity, you know what it paves the way for? Anybody know? More complexity. So because of AutoCAD, we can do all these 2 and 3D drawings and model all these buildings a lot more quickly. And that's why you see societies like China and so forth have been able to modernize so quickly, because they can do that kind of modeling very quickly, and it supported really advanced engineering. How many of us remember not having a cell phone? Put up your hand, don't be ashamed. So we didn't have cell phones, and we had to or go to the payphone, and you know, simplicity. Did the cell phone make you lazy? Now you can't even go through all the WhatsApp messages you have, don't? Right? You don't read all of them. You don't get back to them. There's so many apps. So technology, it's very rare that it makes us lazy. It simplifies certain things. But you know what that simplification does? It gives you space to handle complexity because we're continuously advancing. Oh, I love this one. AI will lead to cheating. Put your hands up if you're afraid of that one or you're nervous about that one. Yeah. How many of us have heard of Cliff Notes? Yeah, and use them. So AI, calculators, Cliff Notes, all of these things can lead to cheating. But you know the biggest thing that leads to cheating? Cheaters! Cheaters, it's a character issue. And so even if we ban AI and we take it away from the classroom, it's not going to stop cheating. And we have to be very careful when we ban things that can have really positive effects just to solve for the bad, because we strangle ourselves, we strangle growth, we strangle productivity, we strangle our opportunity to move ahead. So yes, it does create that opportunity. I am not here to tell you that it doesn't. But where the greater focus needs to be, it has to be on character, and it has to be, how do we shift the paradigm of how we test and measure knowledge and learning now that we know that AI exists. It's the same challenge we had when calculators came out. And here we are, decades later, calculators are still here. And now we have even more advanced technology. By the way, in this cheating scandal on the right, you know who led the cheating? The parents. So character is important. AI will create destruction and kill us like Terminator. Put up your hand if you believe that one. You know, I see some people laughing. So anything can harm you and kill you if not used properly and if not regulated properly. So electricity is dangerous, fire is dangerous, knives and cars. When motor vehicles first became a thing, I read a statistic that approximately 15 persons per 100,000 miles would be killed from motor vehicles, because back then there were no seat belts, stop signs were not a thing, so people were just dying left and right. Today, that number has dropped to 1.1 deaths, and most of those deaths are because of human behavior, drinking and driving, speeding, and those kinds of things. So it's important to know that we have to play a role, and I'm glad our minister is here, because regulation and putting the right parameters are in place are important for using exciting technology in a safe way. But rest assured, like any of these things, any of these tools, any of these can be a deadly weapon. Even food can be a deadly weapon. You agree? Yes. So let's talk about how we prepare our children for an AI-first world. So the first recommendation I have is let them use AI. How many of us are letting our children use AI today? Nobody? One? All right, I'm going to ask this again later and say, oh, we have two in the back? Oh, so we have three. 3 people are letting their kids use AI today, so I'm going to ask at the end how many persons are going to let their children use AI going forward. So my first recommendation is to let them use it, and here's why. Now, on the right, we have a mother, and her son is helping her to use the phone. How many of us have had to ask a child, come show me how to use, come show me how to fix this? Come all the time. Why is that? is when they don't need a manual. The neuroplasticity is on fleek. It's the best time to learn languages, to learn technology. Yeah? And then on the left, I have the logos of Harvard and Wharton. And you know what they've said? We're letting AI in the classroom because it's everywhere anyway. And we're going to change the bar in terms of how our students are measured. And then in Singapore, where I just visited, they're training all the teachers. And they're bringing AI into the classroom, starting with early childhood. We talked about having computers in the library. It's so important to speak in October. And one of the things he said, in the 1980s, I didn't have a computer in my home. But Singapore made sure there was a computer in every classroom and library. And so Singaporean kids had access to computers, even though they were just playing games. They got used to the technology. They didn't fear it. And that created a foundation for them to be very technologically literate. And that society is indeed very technologically literate. And so they're doing the same thing again with AI. Even if you don't have it at home, you're going to have it in the classroom because we're going to show you how to use it to innovate, and we're going to show you how to use it responsibly. So the next two pictures I have is, one is a snapshot from The Economist, which says, if we adjust for population and GDP, Jamaica has won the most Olympic medals in the world between 2000 and 2020. Yeah? And why is that? This is my daughter at 3 years old at Sports Day. There are not many countries where from you're born, you have to participate in Sports Day. And it's a big part of why we're great, because it is, we start at such a young age, we celebrate it, we take pride in it. If we were to translate that to technology and AI, what would you think would happen? What would you think would happen? Yeah. So my greatest recommendation is to start, and to start young, because if we don't start them young and then they go to great universities and they're meeting it for the first time, what do we think is going to happen? They're going to be lost. They're going to be lost. So that's the biggest one. But in addition to AI, there are a couple of things I want to highlight, because technology will change. We're talking about coding, but now AI can do coding. There are things that I studied in business school a number of years ago, and then they didn't have digital transformation and they didn't have AI. But if I didn't keep learning, I would have a problem, right? So here are the things that I would say to focus on in addition to AI. Values, yeah? In a world where everything is about the technology, it's the persons with the soft skills, the human skills that will stand out. Curiosity. We need to develop children who want to continue to learn, because this form of AI will become extinct. And if they can only learn the things up to when they went to university or whatever, they're going to have a problem. We raise our children to say, go to school and get a good job, and that's great. But what happens when that job goes away? So how do we teach our children to be financially literate and to learn how to earn from their passions and to evolve into new careers and also entrepreneurship? Critical thinking, our education curriculum has already gone there in terms of saying we need to develop critical thinkers. I can solve tough problems. I can solve a problem even if it's not in a book, because I have the skills. I can do hard things. The only constant is change. When things are changing, we're like, Lord God, if it change again? No, I see you guys smiling. We don't want our children to say, Lord God. We want them to say, yeah, man, all right, let's go. Let's go, let's go. I'm ready. Because it's persons that can capitalize on change quickly who are able to monetize it. And then the last thing, and we learned this in the pandemic, tough times don't last. So when we build children who are resilient, who know that tough times don't last, good times don't last either, they're able to deal with all the natural ebbs and flows of life. So it's not just about learning AI is a takeaway. It's supporting it with all these other things. These are some resources that I have for parents. I have a QR code that if you scan, I will get it emailed to you. All I ask is that you give me some feedback. So here's a QR code. Please do scan, give me some feedback, and I'll give you some resources that you can teach yourself about AI, teach kids about AI, learn how to protect yourselves online, all kinds of resources. And last question, having gone through this now, how many persons are going to introduce their kids to AI?
Me. They're already there.
Awesome. I thank you so much, parents.